on day 21 of our 28-day Southwest adventure, and today we are headed to Montezuma Castle and the Well. Montezuma Castle and the Montezuma Well were established as national monuments in 1906 and 1947 respectively. They are 11 miles apart from each other, which is about a 15-minute drive. To get here from Phoenix, you'll drive about 1.5 hours, and from Sedona, it's a 35 to 40-minute drive. Montezuma Castle's Visitor Center. So if you don't have the Parks Pass, you do have to pay by credit card.
Came in through El Paso. We hit Chiricahua, Fort Bowie, Saguaro, and then we came through Tucson, hit Organ Pipe. We just hit Casa Grande. We came up through Phoenix, and now we're hitting Montezuma. Tuzagut is closed.
Yep.
We can't hit that one, so we're going to go into Flagstaff. We're going to hit Walnut Canyon. In New Mexico, Sunset Crater, and Wapatki. Then we're heading into Petrified Forest. So we're going to do a hell of a job on these parks, Betty. What do you think about that?
We're making our way. Montezuma Castle is a 20-room high-rise apartment built into a limestone cliff face. So this dwelling is about 100 feet above the valley, and early American settlers thought that it was from the Aztecs in origin, so that's why they named it Montezuma.
It's actually more impressive than the Casa Grande.
Yeah. The Sinagua people began construction in 1100 and continued through the 1300s. It was primarily a residential complex and housed between 30 and 50 people at a time.
They maximize the angle of the sun so they get shade in the summertime and sun in the wintertime. That's why they built it at this angle.
Montezuma Castle was part of a network of villages along Beaver Creek and the Verde Valley. This is Beaver Creek, and it's one of the water resources for those that used to live here.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Beaver Creek, there'd be no Montezuma Castle.
This was a part of a larger community, and there is a Castle A, which is to our left, and these are the ruins from it. This is the Castle A, where 45 rooms in this 5-floor area used to stand. There was a lot of looting, so there's difficult to find information on exactly what transpired here. This was actually bigger than the Montezuma Castle that had the 20 rooms. So they did build a structure here to try to show what a room might have looked like. And that's what was here, but they did destroy it because of safety concerns.
Tribes of Indians lived here between 1100 and 1400. They don't know exactly why the Indians left.
It could have been drought and resource depletion, or overcrowding and a strain on the local farming. Either way, they moved on.
7 centuries ago, what you would have seen might well have been something like this cutaway model of Montezuma Castle. On the top floor, the elderly village lookout keeps his solitary vigil. His eyes search for approaching danger to those working the fields below the castle. On the 4th floor, you will find a concerned mother scurrying to reach her adventuresome son, precariously balanced on the edge of the roof. On the 3rd floor, an aging man leads his blind wife across the balcony. You'll also meet women busily preparing food, getting supplies from storerooms, making pottery and grinding corn. Weavers use the 2nd floor loom to weave cotton breechcloths, bags, and blankets. Today, you can see examples of their varied weaving patterns in the visitor center. Villagers use the wooden ladders as stairways to carry up provisions from fields and water from Beaver Creek. We encourage you to think beyond ancient stone walls and vacant rooms to the remains of a once vibrant village, a village of people who experienced wants and needs, anxieties and fears, joys and sorrows, just as you and I today.
stop here now before we head into Sedona. Montezuma Well. The ranger at the bottom there says that this is actually a sinkhole, not a well. And there are a couple of springs that feed it. And there's like 15 million gallons in there. He said the water's not drinkable from the sinkhole, but that the outlet goes back underground and then eventually filters enough of the arsenic out and eventually becomes drinkable down the stream. Wow.
Montezuma's well. And this well provided water to everybody living in these dwellings here.
Dwellings were used between 1100 and 1400. They used ladders to get up to them. About 1.6 million gallons of water flow through the two main vents at the well's bottom every day. And it's at a fairly constant temperature of 74 degrees. There are no fish in here. Instead, you can find thousands of freshwater leeches under the well's surface. At 55 feet, divers report that fine sand boils up in swirling cascade mounds. So this is the churning sand that occurs around 65 feet deep. So they can't really measure the bottom of the well depth because this creates kind of a false bottom. Grasses around this pond is called pondweed, and it is 25 feet long underneath this water. So it is the tallest aquatic plant in the world. There are some ducks down there on top of the water, but this water doesn't really support life except for leeches and small microbes of some sort. They have steps that go down, so I'm just kind of following them and see where it takes me. Guess Vito's gonna join me. This is the outlet, and the water moves through a 150-foot long underground passageway. It exits above the Wet Beaver Creek. So it takes about 7 minutes for it to pass through this area right here. And then it empties into the Wet Beaver Creek and this prehistoric canal. So this area here is used by the Townsend big-eared bats. And these are prehistoric ruins. They had graffiti way back in 1818. Wow, can you imagine living in these rock dwellings? They dated back around 1300. The one-seed juniper, many uses. They use the wood for roof beams, fence posts, torches, and they boil the branches for stomach ailments. The mound in the middle here is Sacred Mountain. They believe those that live there control the trade in and out of this area. So this goes to the place where the well water comes over to Wet Beaver Creek. This is the water that's coming from the Montezuma well. And this is a big old sycamore that was cut. Gonna head back up, finish the loop. So this is the pit house.
So that these things held the main roof to support the timbers. The holes around the edge reveal the outline of the structure.
Right. So that's why there's all these pit holes in here. That's where they put the beams. Look around the edges. And then the middle had some supports. So this trail is 0.7 loop. So it'll take you down by the well, to its outlet, up to some ruins. It was a nice little trail. So you do go up and down. We haven't been walking much over the last couple of days, so it's time to get back into some hikes. We will be doing that in Sedona. We're going to see more of the red clays here in Sedona.